to you, sir. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so the public wants to get a chance to know you. It's early, but it'll come quickly. And we have the big election next year, the primary. Would it be in June of next year?
Yeah, exactly right. June next year.
Yeah. So about a year away.
That's right.
So what made you do this, first of all? What made you decide I want to run for both? I made the decision. I said, I'm going to run for mayor. And I look back on it and say, wow.
Yeah.
So,
the reality is this isn't a normal next step for me. This wasn't my, career pathway. I've never been a full-time elected official. So as far as like taking a next step, this wouldn't inherently be it. But I have felt very passionately about certain issues over my life. I've been working 4 years on the school board, 8 years on the workforce development board, and 5 years now on a community development corporation board. And finally, I've been running an advocacy group. It's called We the People Baltimore County for the last 4 years. And we have been laser focused on housing, on smart growth, on revitalization in our county. And we arrive at this moment in time where change is really about timing, ultimately. And we are at a tipping point. We're at a crossroads in Baltimore County when it comes to the kind of place we're going to be for the next 20 to 40 years. What we do right now matters a whole heck of a lot to that ultimate picture. And so it's, for me, a put up or shut up moment. If I believe in this strongly enough, we should be able to take risk on the values that we have. That's what I'm showing my children. That's what my parents showed me. And so I'm willing to fight for that future.
Yeah, so you're 40 years old. You're 40 years old, Nick Stewart. But what is your background? And interesting, again, as a person who ran for office before, and people seem to say they have an appetite for someone who isn't a career politician until they get to the booth.
Sure.
So what is your background, some of the credentials you bring, the breadth of experience that you would bring into the job that people could rate you on?
Yeah, what I'll say is, besides just, the school board, workforce development board, the Southwest board, the, community organization that I helped co-found, the reality is I've had 14 years in the private sector. I am a business attorney. I've helped companies of all sorts in this area, including our startups, our entrepreneurs, really take risks and make investments to create value, create growth, and really do the things that make the pie bigger, that make all of our lives better. I know how hard that is. I know what it looks like. And so really being able to bring that practical experience to bear to say, I've been inside and outside government. I know how it works and I know where it doesn't work, but I'm not wed to the way that it's always been. So in this moment, I think it's time for an outsider, somebody who has a vision, as we do, that's been built over many years, over hundreds and hundreds of conversations, to say now is the time we can do the hard things in this county. It doesn't have to be the way that it's always been just because it's always been that way.
Yeah. Boy, I say that often. Again, Nick Stewart joins us. So one of the taglines that you've talked about is being pro-growth and progressive.
Right.
Starting with pro-growth, what does that mean?
Yes. So ultimately, this isn't about growth for growth's sake. This is about growth of all sorts, right? We're talking about population, bringing people into our county. We're losing people for the first time in 100 years in Baltimore County, per the census data. We're talking about economic growth. Our economic growth slowed to 0.6% as of the latest figures. That's a problem for us. So talking about vibrancy in our ecosystem, early stage, our investment ecosystem, but it also means building beautiful things and ensuring that there's vibrancy in our communities, many of which are dead and dying. We think about Security Square Mall and East Point Mall. We think about Lutherville Station and Liberty Road. Even certain areas of Pikesville have enormous investment opportunities. Eastern Boulevard, all throughout our county. We have a chance to make incredible progress if we choose that over endless procedure, because that's where we are as a government now.
Now, I get it. It's funny because there are probably more people that say, yep, we need more population, but not in my neighborhood.
Sure.
Not here.
Sure.
Lutherville Station's one of the controversial ones out in Baltimore County. For instance, that's been debated for years now about that parcel of land
almost
there.
6 years, right?
People don't want the housing there. It's been a big push. There's some who want it. There are many who don't.
That's right.
How do you get over that hump? How do you convince people that the density matters and having more affordable housing in areas that are transit-oriented especially matter? How do you get over that hump?
Look, so I think we approach it in good faith and say, do you want to be able to have access to amenities? Do you want stuff? Most people want stuff. most people don't also want to see a 25% increase in their property tax assessments year over year, which has just happened in Baltimore County, and that's because of our housing supply crisis. Most people want to see their teachers and their firefighters live in the communities that they serve. They want to be able to retire and age in place. And what that can mean is just being able to downsize, but still live in the community that you helped build. That is what we are talking about ultimately. That's the complete picture. And when we talk about Lutherville Station and really kind of dispel a lot of the myth that's out there, what we're talking about is building something beautiful. It's not always what we've done in government in the past, EJ. So the reality is we haven't necessarily proven ourselves to people, but this is our chance with human scaled architecture. There's greenery that's incorporated. There's a transit line. You can play, live, learn all in the same place. That's what we're envisioning all throughout our county in these parcels that are not green fields. They are themselves commercial areas with the water and the sewer, and they're dead and dying.
Yeah, again, we're speaking with Nick Stewart. He's a candidate for Baltimore County Executive. That election is next June, the primary. You're running as a Democrat. I'm expecting to be a relatively crowded field. Pat Young, who's a councilman, is one of the individuals in. He has a resume in politics already, had been in Annapolis and now on the council. And you have Julian Jones, who hasn't officially announced, as far as I know, as the same for Izzy Patoka. Both council people have been there for a very long time. How do you get over that hump of that name recognition? People that have a constituent base already. How do you feel that you're going to be able to break in and garner some votes and take away some from those guys?
Well, look, I think the reality is people do see an opportunity here to have a conversation that feels different than the one that we've had or have been having as a council for the last however long these gentlemen have served on the council, right? It's upwards of 10 plus years. That we have a chance to change the conversation, to say we're going to do the hard things, we're going to start making decisions that look and feel different. And that is gaining traction around this county, that there's a message. We have a moment in time to create a movement around these ideas. I know that sounds broad and existential, but the reality is if we put our shoulders into it, if we build the right team and execute, we can deliver. It doesn't have to take 6 years to build a new housing unit in Baltimore County. So competitively, as we think about this race, we represent the outsider perspective. Right now, we're the only ones who represent that perspective, and that's a good lane for us to be in. But we also have a great team, TJ. We're working with the governor's fundraising team, working with one of the governor's polling teams. We're working with a digital and mailing team that Johnny Olszewski had used. So we're surrounding ourselves with the right people because we're not here just to have a conversation. That's not what this is. We're here to make change. We're here to deliver a result for people who have been waiting, in some cases, too long for that result. Now is the time.
Yeah. So one side pro-growth, the other side progressive.
Right.
What does progressive mean? And the second part of that, does that incorporate working across the aisle? I think Baltimore County, I would call it a relatively purple county. It's been very Democratic for the last number of years, but we're going through in Baltimore County a redistricting, adding a couple of seats there. I think the council's right now 4-3, 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans.
You got it.
But what does progressive mean? And does that also mean working across the aisle?
Oh, 100%, right? The reality is if we're going to move forward as a county, we have to do so as one county. We think about a county as this balkanized, very fractured area where you have the east side, you have the central corridor, you have the west side and the southwest side. We've got to unite as one county. So the themes and the ideas and the platform we're developing will be reflective of everybody in our county. And that is the promise. We are developing the most comprehensive solution set, a fresh set of ideas for Baltimore County. So that's the intent here. And that dovetails into what we mean when we talk about progressivity, which is to say we're not going to be stuck in the past. We're going to be forward thinking. We're going to be inclusive of the innovative ideas that maybe scare some folks, but we're willing to have those hard conversations and to really break down a new solution set for Baltimore County that will make the right impact. And yes, along the way, we're going to make sure that those who are underserved and overlooked have a voice, are able to be seen. And these aren't just words. We're talking about ensuring, access to transit. We're talking about having excellent school teachers in each and every classroom, regardless of income in that zip code. These are progressive ideas. They themselves can be game changing.
So, again, we're joined by Nick Stewart. He's a candidate for Baltimore County Executive. So as you've been traversing Baltimore County, I'm sure you've been burning up the shoe leather early and often. What are you hearing from residents? What are they saying in the different parts of Baltimore County? Because it's a very diverse county. It's you have urban, you have rural.
Yep.
Actually, somebody on our text line asked about the urban-rural line in Baltimore County as well. What are you hearing from residents, and what are your thoughts on what you're hearing?
What we are hearing ultimately from our residents is a fewfold. One, there are those that we're really trying to activate who kind of don't think that big things are possible in Baltimore County anymore, and that we've set low enough expectations that that's become behavior, and that we can't do big things. We have to do big things right now. We're talking then these plans ultimately when it comes to smart growth or modernizing and professionalizing government, when it comes to driving economic growth and innovation, when it comes to connecting our economic hubs through public transit and making it more possible for people to get to and from. Those are ideas that are resonating across our county. It's being able to activate folks and say, we need to try again. We need your help. I have been there. I've been on the boards. I've written the white papers. They get thrown into the ether. Nothing really happens with them. Or I submit the commentary, I respond to the surveys. Things don't happen. That can be different now. And that can be different with the assistance of technology and the way we integrate people's ideas into the plans that we make. It is a diverse county. Our diversity, to be clear, TJ, it is our strength. It is where we have something to offer for everybody. And so what that allows us to do is to build out a comprehensive vision for a quality of life that meets everybody where they are. And so talking about the ERDL real quick, it is one of the best forms of early smart growth that we have. I don't want to see anything change with respect to it, but I do think that this conversation we had about the ERDL recently got sidetracked about councilmanic courtesy and this idea that every councilman runs their district as a fiefdom chief. It can't be that way anymore. We have got to do it differently. And by the way, most other Central Maryland jurisdictions do. We're being left behind.
Yeah. And really quick, my last question for you. It's a question I used to get asked often as well, because when you're not in the tank, they want to know, where are you getting the people from? Where are these high-level people that are going to help run government come from? Because it's really the people that run government. You're the one that gets elected and selects the people that are really going to do a lot of the hard work. You bring the ideas, but they're going to do the work. Where do you get them from?
The actual folks in government is who you're talking about.
Yeah. The high-level people.
Yeah.
You've had experience in government before. You worked for former Governor Martin O'Malley.
That's right.
What role did you have for him?
I was in his communication shop.
Okay.
So, but was working with all the departments in order to put together our policy programs and
you saw a lot. So where would you pull? Where would you look at to pull some people from to help you run government?
That is one of the things that we have in this area, TJ, is we are blessed with an enormous number of human talent and resources. You look around our county, it's one of the highest per capita as far as education is concerned. Look at our concentration of colleges and universities. We have folks who want to make an impact, who are attracted to the idea of what good government can and should be, and you see them go to and from government and the private sector. I think there are opportunities. We've already seen this very early on with this campaign. People have come out and said, that's exciting to me. I want to try to be a part of this, knowing that if we do this by ourselves, it won't work. Yeah. That the coalition that we have to build has to be a significant one. But we're also talking about the incredible servants that exist in Baltimore County and empowering them to run fast. Oftentimes in government, what happens is you set the speed limit for everybody at 15 miles an hour because there was one or two people who committed some sort of issue and problem, and that slows everybody down. And so we're going to empower people to sprint. We're going to give them agency and authority. We're going to give them pathways to advancement. And we're going to show them that government is a high-level profession that can deliver for the people that they serve in their own community. This is what they want ultimately. And we talk about, right now we have a 35-hour work week, right? It's less than technically full-time. We've been having this conversation since William Donald Schaefer. There are opportunities to look more professional, more modern, and to give them the tools, including technology tools, to empower them and to allow them to do the job even better.
Where can people find out more about you if they want to?
Sure. It's nickforbaltimorecounty.com is the website. We're on all social media, so you can find us as well. And we really encourage folks to reach out. This is going to be an ideas-driven campaign. Ultimately, that's the first page you see is one that asks you for your ideas to bring to this campaign.
All right, Nick Stewart, thank you very much and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. We'll be back with more here on the TJ Smith Show.
The Baltimore Orioles play